Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Etheria restart video. We are officially exactly 1 week away from official launch. I played through the entire beta and I've been like just itching to get back into the game, and unfortunately, of course, I can't. I just have to sit here waiting like all the rest of you. But I'm going to start making a full series of guides and tutorials for the game. So you can expect to get several Etheria restart videos before launch, and then of course a bunch of videos after launch about all Etheria restart content, whether it's like PvP strategies, unit reviews, gear guides, stuff like that. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of those videos. But this video specifically is basically just going to be a glazer. I want to talk about all the reasons why I think you should try Etheria restart if you haven't already decided to play, and tell you what I really enjoy about it. And of course, you can decide if that actually fits things that you would enjoy. So the first thing is to remember that it comes out on June 5th, and that will be at 3 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, okay? So I'm in California, so for me it's 3 a.m., so whatever that means for you around the world, you can make the adjustment. But June 5th, 3 a.m. Pacific Time, I'm going to be streaming, and I'm also recruiting for my union, so join up if you want to join a competitive guild. And it's gonna be a good time. So I'll see you guys live. It's gonna be like a crazy long night for me, but I'm hyped for it anyway. Anyway, so the next thing that I want to talk about as far as actually like let's get into it. You know, good things about the game. So the gacha is targeted SSR only. This is so good. Like I don't know. There's probably other games that have done it, but I've never played a game that only had a single SSR on a rate up banner. So obviously, there's going to be like your Rs and your SRs on all the banners, and you might just miss, right? If you do like a multi-pull of 10. But if you get an SSR, if you're doing it on the rate-up banner, it is guaranteed to be the target. So there is no 50-50. You don't have to worry about like pulling a, you know, there's no like 50-50 hard, you know, like soft pity or whatever kind of thing. There's no like randomly getting another SSR. Like if you're targeting that unit, you're going to get that unit. And that is just amazing. This is a huge boon to free-to-play players specifically. I mean, obviously it helps everybody, but specifically to free-to-play players, because this allows you to absolutely plan out your account, okay? And let me tell you what I mean by that. If I know that there is only a specific unit on a banner, I can save up the exact amount that I need and plan for what units I want. Now, if I'm free to play, I'm probably not gonna be able to pull every single unit, but I can guarantee that I have enough, no matter what, to get any unit that I'm going to target, okay? So which brings me to my next thing. The hard pity is 80 pulls. That is wild, okay? And this kind of like is like a, I don't know, a dual point, I guess. The developers listen to the community, okay? They did this open beta and are really taking feedback. Well, they're going to potentially make some balancing adjustments to like character skills and equipment. So I'm waiting to put out my like best SSR, best SR units and equipment guide and all that until we get the final word on what's changed, because they are taking a lot of feedback. And one of the pieces of feedback that they took was changing the pity. So you have hard pity at 80 pulls. So like I was saying, if you're free to play, you can save up 80 pulls worth, you know, 8 multis, and then be guaranteed to get that unit. That is the hard pity. And, you know, chances are, like, obviously you can get screwed by RNG, but statistically you'll get it before that, and you're not going to get some other random SSR either. So it's just amazing. So targeted gacha is only the one SSR on the banner, and then hard pity is 80. And it's just, I don't know, it's amazing that they're doing that. So I don't know, the gacha system is fantastic. Now I still think, you know, Nikkei's system of being able to save gold tickets is kind of goated, but this is still extremely good and is even more reliable, I would say, and more forgiving in a way. You just can't save up like insane amounts of pity like you could, like in the long term. But anyway, so let's go to my next point. RTA is extremely engaging, okay? And for those of you that don't know, RTA stands for real-time arena. I forget what it's actually called in-game. It's like, I don't know. I forget what it is. Comment below if you remember. Something arena. So, by the way, these are just pre-recorded polls that I did. So, you know, if you doubt that the gacha is good, these are polls that I did during the beta. So, yeah. That's what you're watching in the background here. But anyway, RTA is extremely engaging. So they have real-time matchmaking. Now they do have kind of your typical like gacha multiplayer where you set up a defense formation and then, you know, you like attack it and you're like fighting against AI. So that does exist, but there's also real-time matchmaking, just like you would have in, you know, more of a like, I don't know, what legit PC game, I guess, you know, where you're actually playing against a live opponent. And this is a huge win for me personally, and I think a lot of people are hyped for it. This is the thing that people love the most about this game. It's so cool to be able to play against a live opponent and really form a real meta. Okay, so like, I know we throw around the term meta a lot, of it being like the best units or whatever. Really, meta means to consider things outside of the actual like text in the game. In other words, you're thinking about what your opponent is going to do. So a meta only really exists in a PvP environment. And so having that real-time arena allows you to actually like react to the meta and sort of like, if you can remember an opponent that you were fighting, you can choose specific units that you know are going to be good against the ones that you fought against previously. And this is going to be particularly relevant up in the higher rankings of arena. And this is something that I personally had a lot of experience with a game called Final Fantasy War of the Visions. If you guys ever played that game, I was a top 10 ranker for multiple months while playing that game. I put a lot of work into PvP, and it would get extremely meta, where you would make specific compositions to make sure that you could counter. And some of it was like pretty wacky, stuff that would like not traditionally be good, but because you knew that you needed to react to specific things against these opponents. And so we're going to see this here, if not even more so. So I don't know, the decision making, the drafting, where you like, you know, have to choose units and then you can each ban a unit. So like not everybody's just going to run the same team. You can't use the same unit. So like if they're using it, you have to pick a different one. It's really, really cool. I'll do, again, videos on PvP strategy, but I just want to say RTA is just extremely engaging. So the next thing is that there are a lot of different modes. So even though I'm like super hyped for real-time arena, there's so many different modes. Like you have your main campaign where you kind of like run around and stealthily attack enemies, and then like you got your, of course, your main story and whatever in that. And then you have like your gear farming modes where you're fighting bosses. You have your experience farming. You have other like variations of arena. So of course you have the, like I said, kind of the auto, like when we make a defense formation, you have the real-time arena, and then you also have the one that only happens on the weekend, which is kind of like a like tournament bracket, which is pretty cool. You have various union modes, which are really cool. And I guess I'll kind of like get into like some of these specifics, but just there's a lot of different modes. And there's like weekly events too that rotate that are like limited time, and things where you can like interact with opponents or other players, where I only got to play this slightly in the beta, but there was this one where like you would go through stages and collect cards, and if you got a certain combination of cards, then you could exchange that for like really good rewards. But there was also some kind of like trading mechanic where you could like say, hey, I need this, and kind of like get other players to like swap those with you. So a lot of really cool things, a lot of different engagement with other players, be it in a cooperative or competitive environment. So getting to that more specifically, there are live matchmaking co-op modes as well. So this is something that I really haven't seen in any other gacha game. Well, that's not true. I guess in this way, I haven't seen it, I should say. So, I guess like in Nikkei, you know, we have co-op. So same kind of thing. I reference Nikkei a lot because a lot of my audience is Nikkei players. That's why. So, but anyway, so there's like this mode where you can fight a boss where you're actually fighting like 3 different bosses at a time. And then one of the bosses is being fought by your allies' team. And then one of them is being fought by your team. And then there's a third boss that you're fighting that is a combination of units that you have chosen and a combination of units that your ally has chosen. And then you fight that single boss jointly. And that is really, really cool to see like how you guys can both contribute to the team to make something. And then, of course, you can play on auto or manually, and I just thought that was like a really, really cool mode to play. Also, Union is co-op and versus. So of course, like I said, I'm recruiting for a Union, so let me know if you want to join. Link to my Discord in the description below. So if you want to join a very engaged Union, please hit me up. We already have several people signed up. We do need some more so we can be ready on day 1. But anyway, the union format has like raids, so you're fighting bosses all the time. And then there's also going to be some type of union like competitive mode like versus other unions. And we didn't get to see exactly what that was like in the beta, but again, more union modes, which is going to be really cool. I love anything that you can do with other players. It's really like keeps you engaged, right? As opposed to just a lot of stuff that you're doing like in your own little box. And especially as a content creator, like, you know, I have a lot of community involvement in general, so having a game mode that really facilitates like more community involvement is really cool. Also, so besides all the game modes and everything, the gear system is deep, which I love. So there are actually 7 different pieces of gear that you put on every unit, which is kind of crazy. Most games will have like 3 or 4. 7 is a lot. So you have basically like a helmet, and then I don't even know what they are, honestly, but there's like a headpiece, and then there's like some kind of like arm piece, and then I don't know, they're not even really armor, but anyway, there's like 3 unique pieces, and then there are 3 accessories, so you can put on like 3 different unique pieces, and then 3 that are kind of like all the same. But they have like different stats on them, of course. And then you have a 7th piece that is called a shell, which is basically like a little kind of like helper that will add extra abilities and do things whenever it's your turn. So it might like heal you a little bit, or do an extra attack, or you know, refresh your like your timer or something like that for your next turn. So it's pretty cool. They also have like combination of buffs that they can do, where like if you add up a certain number of like the same type of buff, you'll get like more defense or more speed, or like, you know, defense penetration or whatever things like that. I can't even begin to explain all this. Like I said, I'm gonna do a full equipment guide, so subscribe so you don't miss that. That's gonna be one of my first full guides with sort of recommendations on what gear is good, as well as just like how the gear system works, because there is a lot going on. It's very deep. But the good thing is you don't have to farm like a million different materials to do it. So as far as farming, it's very straightforward, but the system of like finding the good combinations and what to use in what units is very, very deep. And I think that that is really cool, and something that will probably be reactive in the meta. We'll see people like choosing different types of gear, even if they're using the same units as well, because they'll be like, okay, well, we're shifting to more of like a slow control-y kind of meta, or like more aggro or cleave or whatever, you know, things like that. So I think that's a really, really cool, really good sign. So I don't know, the game is fun, guys. The game is really fun. I really encourage you to try it out. You know, if you like turn-based combat, or even if you don't know if you like turn-based combat, but you'd like to try it out, I think there's a lot to love here. The character designs are pretty sick too. Of course, you got your waifus, but you've also got some husbandos out there if you're into that too, and just like generally interesting, kind of like cool designs. So yeah, try it out, guys. It's a great game. I'm going to be making content for it every week, and also streaming it. Again, I will be streaming at launch 3 a.m. Pacific time on June 5th. Join me. I'll be streaming on Twitch and YouTube. Link to my Twitch channel below as well. Let me know what you're looking forward to the most about Etheria Restart. There's so much. I mean, like I said, I barely scratched the surface here. But I think the game has a bright future ahead. The devs seem to be in it for the long term, and they want to make this a real esports thing. They've already allowed people to register for like world tournaments and things like that. So I don't know, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. I'm also planning to organize some community tournaments as well that people can participate live, like during stream and things like that. So yeah, make sure you join my Discord so you don't miss out on any of those kind of opportunities, because I'll announce them there. And I will catch you guys in the next video or stream.